I must wish everyone for whom it applies a belated but sincere happy Mother's Day. Yesterday was Mother's Day. And if you are a mother, or if you identify as a mother, because I want to be politically correct, then a belated happy Mother's Day to you. That woman that you saw that led the video off, that was my mother. And I could talk on and on and on about my mother. I wrote a chapter about her in my first book that's unpublished, but one day I might get on here and read it. Actually, her birthday is this coming Tuesday, and tomorrow, the 13th, is her birthday, and this would be her 100th birthday. But my mother, is she not gorgeous? She's got the movie star looks. That photo is like from the 1940s. She met my dad after he came home from the war in France and Germany. They met at the train station in Elberton, Georgia. I've got a video about that somewhere on my channel. If you just look up Elberton, I went there one time and did a video. But that's where they met. And my mother's name, she had a great Southern name. Her name was Mary Jean. All one word, M-A-R-I-G-E-N-E, Mary Jean. Everybody called her Mary. Her mother called her Mary Jean, my grandmother. But my mother was just about the sweetest woman that ever lived. She was she was my Georgia peach. She was sweet and innocent and guileless, not vulgar at all, well-mannered, a fantastic Southern cook who kept her boys fed. By the way, I'm the third son, the last son, the baby of the family, and I was supposed to be the daughter. She had two older boys, and my name was all picked out. I was supposed to be Mary Alice. Don't be calling me Mary Alice, but I'm not Mary Alice. But anyway, she was just as sweet as they come, and I really do miss her. We lost her in 1989, and she was my age when she passed away. She was 64 years old. But yes, she would, if she lived tomorrow, she would be 100 years old. And my father's birthday was last week, and he would have been 104 years old. So, whew, time's moving, friends. Time is moving. I want to tell you a couple of things I did this weekend that may be a bit, just some general stuff today, this morning, whenever you're seeing this. But I do want to get to something in the news here in just a minute. In light of the election of Pope Leo to the papacy last week at the Vatican, they picked a homeboy from Chicago. I watched a movie. If you have Amazon Prime, which I do, and I think it's a great value, you might want to look into it if you don't have it. There's a lot of benefits in addition to the free delivery that you get with anything you order from Amazon. There's a lot of, you can watch movies on Amazon as well, and many of them are free. And that's the kind Marina lets me watch, the free ones, because they cost her favorite price, free $99. And I found a movie called Conclave, which I highly recommend if you've not seen it. It stars, and I'm going to butcher this man's name. He's an actor by the name of Ralph Fiennes, I believe it is, Fiennes. I first saw him in the old movie, well, not old. I first saw him in the movie Schindler's List, and he was a terrible character in that movie. But in this movie, he's like the dean at the Vatican, and the dean, he's a priest. The dean basically runs things in lieu of the Pope. He's kind of like the Pope's right-hand man. And in this movie, the Pope dies, and he is tasked with running basically the conclave to elect a new Pope. This movie is riveting, at least I believe so, has a really wild twist toward the end. And you might want to check it out. It's called Conclave, and it is on Amazon Prime. I've got things popping into my head. Thank you for there's a link down below if you'd like to leave like a tip. It's called Buy Me a Coffee, and some of you have done that, and one of my dear friends did that over the weekend. I don't know if I can say your name or not. I'm not sure what the protocol is for that, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that because I love coffee. All right. You know what else I did this weekend? I just kind of kicked back and listened to music, a lot of music. I listened to it on YouTube, and I listened to it. I've got the Spotify app, and I have always had a kind of an eclectic taste in music. I like all forms of music. The only thing I don't like is rap. I can't stand hip hop. Can't stand it. Cannot stand it. I'm showing my age now, I know. But anything else, I was raised in a house where I had one brother who had a stack of Motown records in his bedroom. I had another brother who had Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard and George Jones and Loretta Lynn and Rod Stewart in his bedroom. Go figure that. And then my mother had all the gospel albums, and of course Elvis was in there somewhere. And the first time my mother heard Simon and Garfunkel sing Bridge Over Troubled Water, she made us go out and buy that album for her. And we had Lawrence Welk. Of course, he came on Saturday nights, and we had all this. And my father liked big band, not big band like Benny Goodman or Glenn Miller. He liked the marching band, marching band music, like John Philip Sousa marching band. So I had exposure to all kinds of music, and of course, I kind of came of age in the '70s with, the Doobie Brothers and Fleetwood Mac and Van Halen and all that kind of jazz. Well, they were in the '80s, which was a great musical decade, by the way. So I have a variety of interests in terms of music. I love classical music. I love Renee Fleming. If you ever get to, I would advise, if you love classical at all or opera type music, look up Renee Fleming's Song to the Moon. Unbelievable. Listen to Pavarotti singing Ave Maria. It is just beautiful, absolute beautiful music. But another guy that I really like that I spent a lot of time listening to this weekend was a Canadian by the name of Gordon Lightfoot. Anybody know about Gordon Lightfoot? Gordon Lightfoot had a lot of great tunes. His most famous ones were probably Sundown and Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald and If You Could Read My Mind, things like that. But he had a lot more than that. Gordon Lightfoot was, he died 2 or 3 years ago, I think. There's some great Canadian musicians out there, have been, solo artists and bands. And I got to thinking about that. There's Gordon Lightfoot, who is just, he may be the greatest songwriter Canada ever produced and one of the greatest, period. But Canada also gave us Rush. They gave us the Guess Who. They gave us Bachman Turner Overdrive. And none of these acts, I don't know about Gordon, but I know these other, now Rush is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Guess Who are not, neither is Bachman Turner Overdrive, which is a travesty. That whole thing is a joke. But anyway, Gordon Lightfoot's fantastic. If you ever get a chance to listen to his music, I highly recommend it. Especially if you've never heard the song, and who hasn't, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's based on a true story about a freighter that went down in Lake Superior. It's a true story back in the 1970s, and 29 lives were lost. He has a line in the song where he talks about a musty old hole in Detroit, like a sailor's cathedral, and every year they ring a bell 29 times for each man that was on the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I've been reading that for the last couple of years, now they do it 30 times to honor Gordon Lightfoot, who brought so much attention to that tragedy and to the families that were left behind. But he was a fantastic songwriter. And if you're not familiar with his music, I Highly recommend it. All right, let me get to what the bulk of what I want to talk about today, which is Jasmine Crockett. If you don't know who Jasmine Crockett is the congressional representative. I believe she's from the Fort Worth area, somewhere in there, Dallas-Fort Worth. Jasmine Crockett is just another one of these woke leftists in the in the Democratic Party, and in Congress. She's a member of Congress. Jasmine Crockett is about as left-wing as you can get. She's right up there with AOC and Ilhan Omar and people like this, and Maxine Waters. You know, the Democratic Party as an entity is in a lot of trouble, and there are longtime Democrats, donors and boosters such as James Carville, old serpent head, who know that the Democratic Party is in trouble, and it is because, and they even acknowledge, I'm thinking specifically about James Carville right now. James Carville was in the Clinton administration. He was an advisor to Clinton. He married Mary Matalin, who was in the Bush administration. It was kind of an odd couple type deal. James Carville is from New Orleans, and he's a lifelong Democrat. He is as loyal as can be to any Democrat who's running for office. But he has pretty much had it with the embracing of wokeness from the Democratic Party. I mean, wokeness has gone mainstream in the DNC, and he is bemoaning the fact that his party has been basically given over to people such as Jasmine Crockett and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar. This is the face of the Democratic Party. For heaven's sakes, David Hogg of South Florida is now the vice chairman of the DNC. And Carville is about ready to pull whatever hair he's got left out. He sees how the Democratic Party has completely lost its way. And by giving itself over to this wokeism, folks, they're all but ceding national elections in the future, and Carville knows it. Because nobody in flyover country can relate to the Ilhan Omars and the Jasmine Crockett's of the world. These people are so unhinged, so far left, so out of touch, and they have become the mainstream of the Democratic Party. It's like watching the Hindenburg fall from the sky. But if this is who the Democratic Party wants to have as their spokespeople, I'm fine with it. Go right ahead. If you want to keep losing, just your party's been co-opted by the Jasmine Crockett's and the Ilhan Omars of the world, and I'm fine with it. I'm good with it. Let it happen. Carville said of these people, such as Ilhan Omar and AOC and Jasmine Crockett, Carville said to them, James Carville said of them, why don't you all leave and go start your own political party? He's inviting them to leave the Democratic Party because Carville knows they've got no future with these people as their mouthpiece. Carville knows they're not going to win a national election as we just had anymore if these people are front and center. Carville knows that. And that's why he is so exasperated and saying, why don't you people leave and go start your own political party? Carville knows it. He sees the writing on the wall. He sees there is no future for the DNC with people like Jasmine Crockett front and center, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez front and center. There's no future for them, and I'm fine with it. But I want to get to a couple of comments that Jasmine Crockett made over the weekend. You remember 2 or 3 weeks ago, for the second time at some event she was speaking, she referred to the disabled governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, as Governor Hot Wheels. You remember that? She called Governor Greg Abbott, who is a disabled man who is confined to a wheelchair, she referred to him at this speech in front of, I don't know how many people, hundreds, I suppose, if not that, probably hundreds. She referred to Governor Greg Abbott as Governor Hot Wheels. Now, I want you to imagine if Donald Trump had said of any person of color that was disabled and in a wheelchair, if Donald Trump or any Republican had referred to that person as Hot Wheels, can you imagine the outcry that there would have been? There would have been no mercy for Donald Trump had he said something like this. But Jasmine Crockett gets away with calling Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels. She just can't help herself. This is who Jasmine Crockett. She has the speech that comes straight out of the gutter, folks, straight out of the ghetto. She is the hood. We talk about the hood in our business a lot and how we got to go to the hood and sell our products or whatever. It's the inner city. And that's, I don't know where she lives. Of course, she probably lives in a nice house, but she projects that mentality when she speaks. Now, it may be a ruse. She may be an intelligent woman. I don't know, although I kind of doubt it, because an intelligent person would not mock a disabled man who's confined to a wheelchair like that, but she's just showing her true colors, literally. But this is what she said, I believe, on Saturday. I'm not going to give you the entire quote, but I'm going to give you enough of it so you'll understand where she's going. She was being interviewed on a podcast, and she was bemoaning the fact that, the Democratic Party was not embracing people such as her for positions of higher positions in the country and in the Democratic Party. And they were speaking to her on this podcast. I forget the name of it. They were speaking to her about the next presidential election and who the Democrats may run to oppose the GOP nominee in 2028. And this is what Jasmine Crockett said, I quote, "So there's a lot of people that are like, you know what? Like, let's go find the safest white boy we can find. I mean, I'm just saying," unquote. So there's a lot of people that are like, you know what? Like, let's go find the safest white boy we can find. I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, you're just saying. I want to talk about the term boy. Now, I am a boy. I've been a boy my whole life. I identify as a boy. Boy, man, whatever. Now, generally speaking, I believe that you don't generally refer to a grown man as a boy. It's generally seen as a term of derision. Now, Marina calls me boy all the time. If I say something that she doesn't like, she'll say, "Now look here, boy." But your wife can get away with it, right? I refer to myself as boy all the time. I am a boy. If I goof up at work or something, "Come on, boy." But usually it's a term of derision. It's seen as a degrading term to use the term boy for a grown man. When you're young, your mother would say, "Now look here, boy," or your father. But you don't typically refer to a grown man as boy. I'm not all that been out of shape over it myself, but, typically in the American culture, that's kind of an unwritten rule. It's kind of a term of disrespect if directed at a grown man. But she says, let's go find the safest white boy we can find. She's bemoaning the fact that they don't want to put another Kamala Harris up for president because that's a losing ticket. I'm just saying, that's what she says. I'm just saying they want the safest white boy possible, which, by the way, may well be true. The names I've heard that are being bandied about for the Democratic nomination thus far here in May of 2025 are, I've heard J.D. Pritzker of Illinois, Andy Beshear of Kentucky, who I believe is looking into it, and Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, all white boys, if you will. And I think, I don't know how things are going to shake out, but I would not be surprised in the next presidential election if you see a white man as the Democratic nominee, because unless the Democratic Party just continues to give themselves over to wokeness and continues to let AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Ilhan Omar and David Hogg speak for them as a body. But what do you think about Jasmine Crockett using the word boy? Again, here we go again. Can you imagine if Donald Trump used the term boy like this, what the outrage would be? But Jasmine Crockett gets away with it, folks. It's such a hypocritical double standard. We're going to look for the safest white boy we can find. I wouldn't take too kindly, quite frankly, to Jasmine Crockett calling me a boy. I got to tell you. But once again, she's a Democrat, and she is a person of color, quite frankly, and she gets away with it. I don't think it's right. I find it offensive, quite frankly, and I'm not easily offended. But first it's Governor Hot Wheels, and now it's a safe white boy. You couldn't say safe black boy, and she knows it, even coming from her. But these people just, they're so out of touch with reality. They're so far to the left. You know what the problem is with the Democrats as a whole party? You know what the problem is, folks? It's real simple. They hate America. That's the bottom line. They hate America. They hate everything we stand for. They hate our founding. They hate our founders. That's why they're taking all the statues down when they can. They hate the Washingtons and the Jeffersons and the Franklins and the Thomas Paines and the John Lockes. All these men were plantation owners and slave owners, of course, and that makes them evil people. They hate Robert E. Lee. They hate all of the founders and the framers and those who helped to pen the Declaration and the Constitution. I know that we had some characters from the past, and I know we're not perfect and never were. But where else would you rather live? I know our founding wasn't perfect. I know the first few years of America were not perfect, but folks, where else do you want to live? I am an American. I was born here. I was raised here. I'll die here. I will always be an American. This is my country. I love my country. And I can look objectively at our founding and our founders, and I can see various flaws in different things and various flaws in the character of some of our founders and our framers who were human beings. But I don't want to tear the whole country down because of it. I love my country. I'm an American. I love my country. I'm not looking to bring down any statues unless it's of a Marxist, of course. I mean, I know people, good Americans, who have chosen to go and live abroad in other countries. I know people who have gone to live in Russia. I know a friend of mine who is in his 80s. He's a single man. He has left America and he has gone to live in Costa Rica. Not out of protest. He loves America too. He has bought a home in Costa Rica and he lives there now because he loves Costa Rica. He loves the weather. He loves the low cost of living. He didn't do it because he hates his country. Wherever you live, you should love your country, and if there are problems, then you should work to make it a better place. But these people are they're like so destructive. They want to tear down everything about our country, and they want to redesign America, apparently, in the shape of, and in the form and in the fashion of the hood, of the inner city. That's all I can figure. They want America to be completely of an urban mentality is all I can figure, because that's where these people come from. Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Maxine Waters. They come from the hood, folks, and they've got this mentality that government exists to provide for you from cradle to grave. Everything you would ever need, it should come to you from government, and it should be provided for you by the evil rich people who don't deserve what they had. And it should be taken from them and redistributed to you, especially the white ones. And that's just a fact. Jasmine Crockett. Jazzy C. There you go. All right. Anyway, hey, give me a thumbs up on the video. I would appreciate that. If you want to say Happy Mother's Day and tell me something about your mother, I'd love to hear about it. Anything else I talked about today. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.